What's up, people? Back with another podcast. This time we're rolling deep into the indie space itself. All them hunchbacks and twisted flipping basement dwellers and attic dwellers will be discussed today. But Black Swan himself, right, is relatively new to the indie space. So, man, this time we're going to get all kinds of info from you, what it was like jumping in here, who you found first, then you found Coffee Comics, but your general experience when you opened the door and entered the indie space, or as to like, what was it like? So let us have it.
I think when I first got in, I was like looking on YouTube just for like people who were in the same industry, just to find like inspiration or see like opinions on comics and just try to like network or whatever. A lot of the content was kind of boring, like I don't know, just people saying how great things were and this is good and da 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 and whatever. Like the criticism, I didn't feel like they were really in depth analysis and criticisms. And it wasn't until I kind of found your channel that I'm like, oh, like this guy, he's opinionated and he has his highs and lows and everything, but he's like a real dude and he's like giving his real critiques and opinions, whether I agree with all of them or not, is like entertaining. So I'm like, yeah, that's how I kind of stumbled upon your channel.
Okay, now let's unpack uh, that statement of rather boring, because there's what I try to do is that I try to educate people as well in great detail. Right now, I ain't educating people like a lecturer where it's just us at the library. I put some personality and caffeine up in there. But okay, but that part, both personality and caffeine, is rooted in one's own personality, charisma, and so on. But I need to understand, the public needs to understand, what would you classify something boring on YouTube, especially in this space? Does
Mm.
something in this space need to be educational, one, and need to be entertaining, two? Meaning the guy who's making the video, does he have to be with, does he need some personality to deliver a uniqueness to what he's showing everybody?
Man, 100%, especially like in the YouTube social media field. To me, I mean, I like education, informational and stuff like that. So that's just my personal thing. But for sure, 100%, it needs to be like a great combination or mix of personality mixed with like information. I mean, you could just thrive on personality if you're like a comedian. But even comedians, they have somewhat of a knowledge base, whether it's not in, even if it's not historical, it's still based in like relative knowledge that we all use on a day to day. So I think for sure you need to have some kind of information database. For me, it's like informative combined with comedy. I think those are necessary attributes that you need, especially going into like the social media stage.
How can somebody who's lacking in personality compensate for that fact? They have the educational part, they have the facts, but they're lacking personality. How do you think they can compensate for that?
Maybe they could strictly focus on the informational, I guess, and not entertain, or maybe they could find someone they could team up with who's entertaining. I'm not sure. What do you think?
Yeah, I was gonna suggest also team up with somebody who is, and I'm trying to think of somebody who just presents the information and dips. Usually, information providers alone just don't generate enough views or any form of returns.
Oh, so I thought of one. One could be, I guess, with your editor, right? Sometimes the way the videos are edited, they probably could make your videos a little bit more appealing. That could probably help too.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. Because I've seen some dudes who were boring, greasy as hell, and that editing is on point. They got some zombie editing to a TikTok brain rot editing, and I suppose that can work. And but you gotta spend a lot of time on that. But now, if you're in the indie space, you got a product that you're working on, your personality is boring as hell, I bet you would not have much time, unless you can afford an editor, to edit everything you want DD Mark level, right? Have you
Mm.
seen DD Mark's videos?
I've never seen DD Mark's videos, but I've seen his manga.
Well, his videos are like legit TikTok brain, bro. Like blah 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 blah. And he hasn't posted a video in almost a year now. And you see, it appeals to the brain dead.
But I think he was doing everything himself, from what I've heard, right?
Yeah, he was.
It's actually kind of commendable because it's like, his art's pretty good. The story, man, it's not my thing. And he's making videos, he's doing art, he's doing this, probably running social media. So I know it's a lot for him. You know what I mean? Just the drawing in itself is a lot of work. So it is commendable that he's like doing all that stuff together. So, I mean, I'm sure he's flawed in certain aspects of what he's doing, but it's still kind of commendable in my opinion. You know what I mean?
I would say it's commendable if he was still doing it. He's not still doing it. If there's going
Oh,
to
okay.
be like giant months, gaps in between where you're nowhere to be seen, you haven't posted a chapter, you haven't posted a video in months, it means it's not sustainable, right? It's not sustainable. It burnt him out, and recovery must take months. And now, recently on his Twitter, I saw that he's been using a lot of 3D mods lately to draw, and I don't like 3D mods because one, you have to set them up, and two, it removes the expressiveness of your character's movements or the overall gesture in your character. It gets stiff because you're locked based on tracing. It suppresses the expressiveness. And I'm like, okay, he doesn't need to do that, right? But since he's starting to, it looks like he's trying to save energy. And I remember he used to say, look, if you're young, under the age of 24, you still have enough energy, bro, but you got to, if you want to use Super Saiyan 3 level energy, you need to know exactly what you're doing because by the end of 24 into 25, you're going to start noticing that dip, and maybe he has started to notice it and like, damn, I need to save energy here. But
Well,
regardless,
I saw something else about like, I think he was having like some mental health issues or something like that where he wasn't. So, I mean, everybody has a lot of stuff going on. I think it's a lot to take on his plate to do artwork, to do dialogue, to do social media, to do whatever. And the one thing I think he lacked, I mean, I might be jumping the gun here within the conversation, but I thought the one thing DD Mark lacked from just at the outside looking in was entrepreneurial spirit. Like I felt he
also,
didn't have that because he has the art, he has the ability, he has the fan base. Um, he even got with Dark Horse, but it seems like he's even been on Manga Plus Creators, but I feel like he's not pushing or getting with like he should be maybe with other people in the indie space to create something. It's like the conversation you did with Wavy, where you guys went over Image Comics. It's like, dude, you're making an impact, but you need to get it at like an editor and maybe work with some other people in the indie space to create something as opposed to just trying to get with the companies. It's like you got enough talent, you got enough. I mean, you kind of know enough about these general areas to make some leadway, but it's like I don't think he has that entrepreneurial spirit. That's what I see. That's just
yeah,
my
he's too
personal opinion.
reliant on the institutions, and it's not just him.
Yeah.
What's his name? Inupen, too reliant on the institutions. These people will not take a gamble on producers in the indie space because either they are one, full of themselves, or two, too fearful what their not really supportive audience might think, and three, the fear of failure. But it's like, dude, so you went to the institutions that lock you in a dungeon, don't market your stuff, don't pay you what you can obviously make more outside an institution in these days. If DD Mark indeed decided to like sell digital copies of his stuff, sell through Amazon his own books, he would have made way more money, versus right now, nobody knows what the heck is going on. But in the end, it's just a dependency on the institutions. And even though there's proof that this thing ain't working out, they still feel the need to believe that the institutions one day will do them a solid. I don't know what to call that type of mindset, bro. Appeal to, well, I'll call it a hunchback because most hunchbacks appeal only to established authorities. You see,
Mm.
a rising authority, they've been programmed to see it as a threat. Oh, you are a rising opponent to this authority. You must be an antichrist. So we will say down with you. They only want to support people who are at the top already. That's a hunchback. And even Didi Mark mentioned in one of his last videos saying, I faked it till I made it. And that's just how I decided to roll because, well, it's what works. It doesn't work. You know, now everybody, well, not everybody, people who's, sucking them off don't really care. Oh no, but most people now see that, yeah, Didi Mark, you kind of told us that you faked it till you made it, but you didn't make it. Because if this is what making it is, where they're not even promoting your product, we don't even know when volume 3 is going to be dropped, when it'll be dropped, why Dark Horse hasn't done more marketing for you, then this is not making it at all. It's not, especially at the speed that this guy can work. He should have 5 books by now. He should have more books than me, right? More than White Manga. So we can say it's commendable that the guy can draw, write dialogue, and make TikTok brain videos, but that's literally what I've been doing, aside from the TikTok brain dead videos, right? And I'm still doing it.
For me, even that phrase, fake it till you make it, you may not understand the effect that it has on you. You may think that you're faking it till you make it to gain something, but you're still giving something away when you begin faking it till you make it. And maybe he didn't see the damage that he did to himself by that process. I understand, like when you're working with some people, you have to kind of, what do you call it, play the game or lie low. That's understandable, but faking it till you make it is not a slogan or a phrase that I try to live my life by. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely not. These young bucks, bro. So I don't know if you checked out the new video on Coffee Ultimate today, but I was analyzing the ending of Dragon Ball GT, and I said there is something about Dragon Ball GT's ending that is rooted in most millennials and late generations subconscious, collective subconscious, right? And I was like, the collective subconscious for us is the Western mythology that we all grew up with, believing it to be truth or whatever, which would be, well, Christianity, right? And how you don't have to really create something that's like straight up a Bible ripoff, but if you take elements from that narrative and put it in a different narrative or intertwine those narratives together, it actually ties us together subconsciously. Dragon Ball GT's ending, where Goku pretty much vanished, right? He went to the realm of the dragons and he became like a god, something like that. In a way, I'm like, I can now see the inspiration behind GT's ending. I can see the Buddhist roots, I can see the Christian roots, and so on. But this is rooted in our collective subconscious that was there for the last 2,000 years or so. And I'm like, people like Didi Mark, who are an early, an early Gen Z and Gen Alpha type people, they've been disconnected from the collective subconscious that you and I grew up with, where there is an established consensus on how things naturally should be and how a person naturally needs to conduct themselves. So you see young people like Didi Mark today who are disconnected from this because the institutions did not enforce that morality, that belief in the schools anymore as they once did. Neither do the modern TV shows, right? They feel alienated to things like GT or anything that we might say or create. So they take a dump on it. Oh, it's too slow, it's too boring. This is a human being. It's not even a human being anymore. This is a creature that doesn't have an established subconscious based on the pillars of a former functioning civilization. Now he just exists as an impulsive, hyper emotional monster, that is so fixated on dopamine all the time. Didi Mark delivers the dopamine, right? He delivers the action. He delivers the fearful imagery. He doesn't deliver the booty, but just those two alone, the violence and the fearful imagery using the monsters, he delivers on that. And I'm like, People younger than age 25, they're totally jacked, most of them, right? Disconnected from the general subconscious that we all know. And this creates a strong division amongst that generation and our generation. And then you have most people trying to appeal to the younger generation who have no functioning subconscious at all, aside from animal impulse. And that's not sustainable because you're just chasing after the next high. So even Diddy Mark has been forgotten outside of his general fan base who are there rubbing his feet, has been forgotten, right? And I'm like, damn, people here have no idea just how broken things are right now. But above all else, in the indie space, the people don't seem to have a direction on how to proper deliver something to a particular age group of demographics. They don't know because they don't know what I just said. And it actually explains why there seems to be this stagnation. You know, why aren't things going anywhere? It's just a massive desert. And there in this desert, there are a bunch of dungeons that people get locked up in, like Manga Plus creators. And I'm the one building a fortress here that has a giant garden. And people are demonizing me, saying, no, you are a rising authority and you want to challenge the established dungeons out here. So we're going to demonize you, Coffee. And because we don't have the intelligence to actually argue against your points, we will just call you mean and evil because of how you say things, because we are retarded. What do you think about that?
Uh, which part? Let's say which part? What? Give me one
The
specific.
part that appealed to you the most.
So let's say about you, right? About your message. Yeah, to me, I look at it as I'm like into comedy. So to me, it's like if a coffee's talking shit about me, I mean, I'm not tripping. You know, it's like, okay, he's talking shit. He feels this way. I mean, like they say, if it doesn't apply, let it fly, right? If you're saying that, if let's say I created something, you're right, and you're telling me, oh yeah, this is demoralizing, this is trash. He doesn't even draw it himself. Da 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 da. Blah blah. At the end of the day, I'm still gonna live my life and do what I do got to do. So to me, I don't give a shit really. But that's me. Like I don't need to have a bunch of people to defend me. I don't need to have consensus with anybody. That's just me being solid within myself to say that whatever a person says, that's his opinion. And if it's entertaining, I can find entertainment if somebody's talking shit about me. So I'm not hella sensitive like that. So I'm open to comedy and
See, that's
that's
you as an individual, right? Who has the awareness of this is me and this is how I deal with conflict, even if it's against me, directly against me. These people in the indie space, though, they don't have a sense of individuality. They're a bunch of collective, hive-minded monsters, bro. And they always want to feel represented, right? So now let's make an example of that big fat whale, behemoth 7,000 pound freak of nature, flipping ashy nigga in his basement with a weird mustache. We're not gonna say no names, right? You saw a video of him recently trying to give me advice, right? And I haven't spoken to this dude directly one on one. I've never one on one. There had to be other people involved. But I think his need to give me advice, even though he has made no returns, he ain't got no finished product right now, right? His need to course correct me, give me advice. This is him from my observation that he's trying to he knows he can't punch me directly in the face. So anyway, he's trying to come in passively to course correct me, to drag me down to his level that look, this is how you should do your business. This is how you should conduct yourself, Coffee. When he himself has no track record of any type of success whatsoever, right? So
mm.
explain to us the stuff that he was saying, man, and what your
Uh,
opinion of what he was saying was.
when I was listening to the video, he was just basically, I mean, he had some okay points. It's like, oh, Coffee, he should probably do his business more like this. He shouldn't fall out with people so much. he should do business like this. He shouldn't be he's causing a lot of conflict. The same old, whatever. My perspective on it was you're pretty much like a diamond in the rough. There's like a lot of people out there who have talent that are not being molded or they're not being picked up and shined. And on the other hand, you got a pile of rocks people are picking up and just putting them in place. My outlook on it was you built up your following, you built up your Patreon, you built up your network of people. So for him to give you any advice on how to do business, I mean, sure, he's not a professional in business. He may have some good tips, but whatever business acumen that or outline that he's following, is it working for him? And that's as like kind of as far as where I took is like, what business tips do you have that are working for you? And also, I heard in his video, he was easy to kind of downplay you, but then when it came to like somebody who represented a bigger company, he was very cautious with his words. I don't know what he's doing, but not really my style of guy. I'd rather take a risk with somebody who's out there, volatile or whatever, but they have potential, because there's a way to work with these people. They have something to offer, even though just because you can't control it doesn't mean that they don't have something to offer. That's my perspective.
So there's the major point. Just because you can't control it, these mother effers are threatened by somebody like Koffee Comics because you cannot control me. You can't put me in a dungeon. I can't be bamboozled. He still has a positive bias to an authority, even though, in that so-called establishment like Saturday AM, it has given the imagery and the functionality of an establishment, but it's a complete failure because it's relying on, a bunch of SJW funding, right? That's the only way it still exists, right? If we really did proper digging, we'd see where that funding is coming from. Like, it's obvious as hell right now. So it ain't selling. That's why they went to Webtoon. But because they have the image of we're selling, we're in stores and whatnot, even though nobody buying your stupid books, right? Oh, this hunchback gonna be like, nah, I gotta give them respect. But they're not actually doing anybody in that dungeon of theirs a favor, despite being in operations for like 15 years at this point. People like this who want to downplay people on the come up, just like me or any of us, they mostly look at the type of person you are first, right? And if you are not the type who's controllable, you're not the type that can be thrown in a dungeon, lock the key, and you work yourself to death, they automatically hate you because they see you as a threat. That no, he gonna set the slaves free. We don't want this Moses nigga up in here. No, he's gonna split the sea. Like, yeah, I'ma split the sea. So what's sad is that this guy does hate me, but he does watch me, right? And I don't know how many other people are there. I mean, if I get 300 views, bro, and my Patreon doesn't have 300 paid subscribers there. No, it doesn't. It has like 60, 50 something paid subscribers. If I had half of 300, 150 paying members on Patreon, there'll be all kinds of dollars coming in. But I appreciate what's there already. But it just goes to show that 300 people, 50 out of 300 people are the genuine, real OG supporters paying that basic entry fee of $5. Price went up, y'all. Sorry. $5 to enter the gate. Because a hunchback, I don't know if you saw that one dude on Patreon, bro. He created a scuffle over there. There was a disagreement. I'm like, there's no way this guy walked through the gate. He paid the $3 to disagree with everybody. Like, what's going on here? Like, he should know that everybody here's mindset will not agree with his mindset. So what the heck's going on? So price went up just because of that, right? And so I'm like, nah. If I have mostly 250 people hate watching, pocket watching, just to see the little mistakes that I might make, then the indie space, what's the word? The indie space main viewers are haters, right? And it's hard to build anything on shaky ground.
Some of the biggest issues that I ran into in regards to the indie space were basically most of the people that I've dealt with in the indie space, artists are probably some of the most unprofessional people that I've ever dealt with in business. So a lot of, not all of them, but a lot of times they don't value your time, their time. They're not punctual. They're not reliable. Like I had a deal worked out with a pretty famous Japanese artist. He was working for one of the big companies, and he's big. His serialization just ended like a few months ago. Dude, I waited a year for this guy. We were supposed to work together. I was on the calendar and everything. When the time came, there was more excuses, excuse after excuse, and I think he blocked me on social media, and then he unblocked me, and then he blocked me again. So it was just like a whole thing where I had this whole thing lined up with this dude. He was supposed to work with me. I waited a whole year, and then the shit fell through. Same thing happened when I work, and I noticed a lot of not Western, but developed countries, they're a little more laxed. And when you deal with people from like, I worked with people from China, from Brazil, from the Philippines, a lot of times those people are more about it. Like they're willing to get the work done. They want to make the money. They want to create a relationship with you and want to keep the money like kind of income flowing in. So I don't know if it's just these people from developed nations are a little more spoiled or whatever the case is, but definitely when it comes to a lot of their communication, their dates, their deadlines, especially in the US, like most of the artists that I've dealt with here are just terrible. They're just terrible when
And
it comes to their professional, organizational, and all that stuff. They're bad, dude. Like when you get a plumber, it's like, okay, I call a plumber up. He comes out at a certain time. Maybe he's a little late. Maybe he's not. He'll look at the pipes. He'll look at the work. He'll give you an estimate, and then it's simple. What these artists do, it's like pulling teeth. It's like, oh, I can't get you on the. Can I get you to schedule something on the calendar? They ignore the calendar. They try to use words to like kind of throw you off the path, so you can't get concrete answers. Like, dude, I'm a fucking adult. I don't have time for your bullshit. So yeah, working with artists in the indie space or whatever has been like very challenging for me.
yeah, that is very, very concerning. And it explains why it's in stagnation. These people are unprofessional. And in developed countries, I guess, they have to be more spoiled, of course, because at the end of the day, I'm sure subconsciously they know that, even if this doesn't work out, I'll still live, you know? Versus in the third world countries, damn, I don't establish a proper relationship with a business partner, I'm gonna starve to death type thing. It needs to be a need that you are creating these indie stories. You need to be able to be doing it, not that you want to do it. A want is not stronger than a need. It never has been. And these people need to understand where they actually stand, but you can't really educate them either anymore. Because same thing with my channel. How many people have actually put in some of the advice that I've, you know, shared over there? Because it's not just my mind just telling people. I have findings coming from people like Torishima, right? People can come to the same conclusion as I have if they just look at the information, but they don't, right? So it's hella frustrating because then everybody just wants to watch somebody else hate on another person. Those are always funny here and there, but then what is the indie space then? It can no longer be an institution. It can no longer be a place where anything grows. Now I'm trying to change that. You're trying to change that.
One of the biggest problems I see with the independent space is the click nature. Like everybody kind of clicking up. Like these groups of people click with these types of people, and then these people get the opportunities. These people get the calls because they're clicked up, even if the work is subpar, even if it has no meaning. It's like, oh, we're clicked up and we're friendly and we're fun. So yeah, it's like, oh yeah, let's do this. And it's like, there's really probably no real money in that shit. I don't think, maybe there is, but there's no substance to it. It's like, where is the substance? Okay, we're gonna click up, we're gonna work together, But where's the substance? Let's say, like, let's hypothetically speaking, let's say like somebody like DD Mark, right, has great art, whatever, but from what I've heard in some interviews, he'll do like renditions of Chainsaw Man, like some of his works. But it's like, what if he gets, instead of going to like a big company, work with independent, go with the company too. Like whatever opportunities come your way, try to open the door for yourself. So if it's independent people who are willing to pay you, if you see something good, go with them, work with them. You see a company give you opportunity, work with them and try to fucking navigate this thing and try to open up as many opportunities for yourself as possible. Not necessarily I'm going to wait for a big company to use me because maybe my storytelling isn't so great. So then I'll work with them. They'll give me a storyteller. They'll put me in this and with the dungeon or whatever you call it. And then that'll be, I'll look at this like, okay, I felt a sense of success by doing that. As opposed on the other side, you could work with some indie people who, they have money, they'll pay. Um, I kind of look at it from is it Todd McFarlane? Is that the guy who did Spawn?
Yeah.
Yeah, I look at like he's like probably the most inspirational artist that I've ever seen or heard about because he worked for the big company. He had his own designs and he decided to go off and do his own thing and try to grab people to actually, he's a businessman. He was a talker, he's a businessman, and he's a creative. But you don't find that every day. Like all these guys pretending that they want to be Todd McFarlane or this, like you don't have the business acumen to be like him. You don't have the drive to be like him. But that dude is like so inspirational on so many levels in the art space is Todd McFarlane.
I think normies hate Todd McFarlane, but don't overtly hate on him because why? Because he's established, because he's an authority already. If Todd McFarlane was the same person as he is, same personality, and he was on the come up, they would be chopping him to pieces, sabotaging him, calling him names, calling him mean, angry and stuff like that. Because in interviews, the guy, he sounds, in your face. He's not sweet, buttery
Mm.
and nice. He's a real man, like up in your face, intense. He's got
Yeah.
some David Goggins up in him, right? The people I swear people hate Todd McFarlane. It's just they know they can't do anything because he is established already. He's an authority. So in a way, this does make things tough, where it's like you can be socially accepted amongst the people if you are a sweet sugar baby who does not evoke any feelings of action from people, then you can be socially accepted, but then you don't make an impact. You're not a threat. No one cares about you. You speak into the mic 40 hours a day, a week, and nothing changes, right? Because you're still trying to appeal to these childish, juvenile, sissy boys who are policing you and how you should be as a person. They want you to be like them, but they are losers. They are in the attic. They drinking mama's milk. They want you to drink mama's milk. And if somebody's still drinking mama's milk, obviously that person ain't successful. They ain't got no product. And if they're going to police you on how to be as an individual, how to conduct yourself as an individual, you are going to sink to their level and not see any change. It
Yeah.
should be obvious, right?
Man.
So, yeah, I ain't going to change for nobody. But this space, it can it can only be redeemed once, you know, people like me, you, and a few others, we collaborate, as we already are, collaborating to build something strong that has a standard. That you can't come in here without following the standards. Because a lot of people up in this space, they want to put their foot in and not the whole way, right? They just want to dip their toe in, like, oh, is the water fine? Like, nigga, just jump in. Jump in already, commit to it. Nah, man, it's scary. Then get the hell out of here.
You know, see what people have to offer, see what you have to offer, and see what you can do. Create some new shit. It's like you don't have to go to like a big company to be like, oh yeah, what do you want me to do? Like, yeah, the big companies have the editors. That's like the one big thing that's like one of the biggest reasons why I would like to work with a company is the editors. Because it's hard to find actual good editors out there, from my experience. Yeah, outside of that, it's like try to make something work. Try to make some new shit. You know, it's like make some off the wall shit. You know what I mean? Like, come on, like, I don't know. That's like I always say, like, creativity starts at the bottom. You know, the companies, they refine the stuff, they take it, they make it palatable for a wide audience, or they throw their agendas in there and whatever else. But all that shit starts at the bottom. All that starts with that individual creator, the individual author, the individual ideas where that thought comes from. So if you can harness that, if you can work with people at the bottom who got some good ideas, you know, make that shit work, and then you can compete against the companies. That's what I mean. That's what it's all about, creating things to compete against the companies. I mean, work with the companies if you can, work with individuals if you can, but the ideal thing is to be competitive, and it's more fun. Like you make the companies strive to, they might have to strive to create better things if they see, but if as long as they're in control to the degree that they are, the only standard that they have is the standard that they set for themselves.
It's obvious to people like us, bro. Uh, but a lot of these hunchbacks, man, they just don't have that dog in them. They want to pretend like they do, and they want to have another hunchback at the top, like most critical, represent them as to like, oh, we can be successful by just being bums. It's like, dude, those bums at the top are CIA operatives to make you retards feel better about yourself. But it's fine. It is what it is. But that's it for now, y'all. We'll be back again next time. Stay tuned.